We
got plenty of coffee, so we're
good. Okay, man. Damon, dude, good morning. Happy Monday. Well, it's afternoon where I'm at, but good morning to you, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing awesome, Curt. Doing awesome.
Man, look, let's just savor this moment. Just look at the stage that we had. Can you just feel the heat coming off the stage right now? Like I'm a little like off put. I don't know what to do with myself with all these rock stars. So guys, today, happy Monday, Manufacturing Monday motivation here. I don't even know what the date is today. I'm just so excited. So man, we have rock stars from Manufacturer's Edge. That is the MEP out in the great state of Colorado. So I'm going to go around the horn. First and foremost, I don't know if I'm going to go alphabetical. Just the person next to me is Beth. Beth, good morning. Happy Monday. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you, Curt?
I'm doing awesome. I'm going to slide over to the right. Dana, good morning, my friend. How are you? Happy Monday.
Good morning, Curt. I'm fantastic. How are you?
I'm doing. If I was doing any better, I might be like, I don't know. I might have to call the funeral home director. And Jessica, how are you today? Happy Monday. What's happening here?
Oh man, we're just going crazy, Curt. Things are good. Thanks so much for having us here. Have you ever heard this one? If things were any better, I'd have to have a twin.
If things were any better, I'd have to have a twin. Jessica, can I steal that one from you? Can I steal that one? So. All right. So, man, happy Monday to everybody. Boy, you're out there. Drop us a note. You absolutely want to connect with these three, man. We are going to have a blast. We are talking about the Manufacturing Extension Partnership. We're going to dig deep into that. We just have a rock star crew from Manufacturer's Edge in Colorado. But before we do that, Jessica, are you guys sitting down? I can't tell. Are you guys sitting down for this? Beth, are you sitting? Okay.
I'm standing up.
Yeah, I'm standing. I'm going to start with Beth. So, Damon, I have three original questions, three completely different original questions for all three of you. And so this way you guys can be prepared for Beth, I'm going to start with you. Okay. Now you're manufacturing rock star. We're going to get into this in 1 second. But now when you were a little girl growing up, I have a question for you. When you were a little girl growing up, who was your hero? Now, while you're thinking about that, Jessica and Dana, I have two totally different questions for you guys. Beth, when you were a little girl growing up, who was your hero?
My dad.
Oh, man. So Damon and I were big girl dads. That's one of our favorite answers. What is dad's name, please?
His name is Frank. And I lost him a year and a half ago.
We send our thoughts and prayers.
Thank you. Thanks. But I grew up in Ohio, actually, and I'm a Buckeye. I stalked you too.
Oh, she's a Buckeye. Where in Ohio did you grow up?
In New Concord, Ohio.
Oh, wonderful.
Do you know where that is? I saw your undergraduate degrees from Ohio State University.
I was hanging out in Columbus.
That's what I thought.
The only college I could find that would take me. But yes, Beth, I am a Buckeye. So let's hear about. I'm dying to hear about Frank.
Well, let's see. He was a single dad. So, of course I admired him from about, he was a single dad from about my second grade on. And he's just an awesome man. He was a hard worker, great work ethic, raised 3 kids, and was a union electrician for over 50 years.
Wow.
So I don't know what else to say.
That's awesome.
He's a pretty amazing guy and very dedicated to his family, his work, but had that great work-life balance that I have taken a lot from that. So, you work to live.
Well, that
cool.
You know what? Made our day. So, hey, you know what? And Frank is just looking down, just beaming with pride and just so proud of his little girl. So thank you for sharing that you're a Buckeye and that Frank, just, what a great role model you had as you've brought your superpowers into manufacturing. We're going to dig into that for a minute. Now, Jessica, you're kind of a pinch hitter today. I didn't know that you're going to be here today. So I have a different question for you. You ready? We were going to have another one of your teammates on. So I'm going to take a little curveball. Damon, you know where I'm going to go here. So Jessica, I don't have a new question for you. Who was your hero when you were growing up as a little girl? Who was your...
He only has one.
Now, Dana, I was prepared because I knew that you were joining us. So I have a different question for you. But Jessica, who was your hero growing up?
Well, similarly, actually, it was my grandfather who was my biggest hero. So my grandfather was a really extraordinary man. He had a really rare form of arthritis and then later developed Parkinson's and never ever let it slow him down. So he used to devise all these like tools and stuff. He was very innovative. So even like as his health started to deteriorate, he wanted to hold on to his independence. So he actually crafted these tools to like help him get through his day because like he couldn't button his shirt, right? So he developed this tool to like button his shirt for him. And I mean, just really super intelligent, always curious, super creative, just a wonderful giving man, and like never felt sorry for himself. He just kept going, you know, never missed a beat.
Very cool.
Man, and what was Grandpa's name?
His name was Jim.
Jim. You know, Damon, it reminds me of your dad, you know, just, you know, towards the end of his life, and just what an inspiration. I can't button my shirt.
Cool.
So I won't complain about it. I'm going to solve it. What a wonderful inspiration. So, all right, we've got Frank online. We've got Jim, just great inspiration. So, Dana, okay, I have a new question. Hang on, I have to get organized here. Let me get my notes. Dana, who was your hero growing up?
That's the same question, Curt.
Wait a minute.
He thought I was kidding. He really only has one
question. Did I already
question.
ask that question?
Yeah.
I asked nothing. Just my bad. You know what, Dana? I'm not a young guy anymore. I get very forgetful. So I thought I had a new question for you. Apparently, I don't. Dana, as a little girl growing up, who was your hero?
Yeah, it's funny. I feel like I'm jumping on the bandwagon here, but it was my mom. I remember growing up, she had this mug, and I still see it when I feel overwhelmed today, but she had this coffee mug and it had this picture of a woman, and she was carrying a baby, and she had her phone in one hand and like a coffee pot somehow like balanced in the other hand. She had these like sweeping to clean the floor things on her feet, and she was skating around with an apron on, and she did so much. I mean, my mom and my dad were fantastic, but my mom really showed me the, you know, hey, this is home life, this is work life, this is how you can be successful at both. And she was a rock star. So definitely. And she was always there for me as a kid.
What's mom's name?
Her name's Marcy.
Marcy. Okay, boy, man, Damon, I told you this was going to be fire today. Now we're getting a good idea of like how we have such inspiration on this stage, great role models, just wonderful parents. And so let's keep this party rolling. We're going to talk about manufacturing and how you guys are just doing an amazing job helping manufacturers throughout the great state of Colorado. And what I want to dig into is just kind of like, hey, what led you guys into manufacturing? But before I go there, Jessica, my dear friend, my 10-year veteran of Manufacturer's Edge, please share with the folks, what is the Manufacturing Extension Partnership? We're going to dig deep into that. The MEP, from here on out, we're going to call it the MEP. What are we talking about there? What is this MEP?
Yeah, absolutely. So the MEP, and I serve on the steering committee for all of the marketing representatives across the national network. And our biggest challenge is that the MEP is still a best kept secret. It's been around for over 30 years, and it is a program under the Department of Commerce. So we do receive part of our funding every year from the federal government, and then we have to match funds either through state funding or through actual client pay for our services. But the entire purpose of the MEP is to service manufacturers in the United States of America. So there is one center like ours in every state. There's also a center in Puerto Rico. We can either be a standalone nonprofit like Manufacturers Edge is, or we can be associated with the state, or we can be associated with a university. And then to further complicate things, we all go by a different name. So this is part of why people don't necessarily know what the MEP is. But at the end of the day, we're a resource to provide support and services to a manufacturer right from a startup all the way through succession planning. So their entire life cycle, we have ways to help them every step of the way. In some instances, that support can come free of charge. In other instances, we can help with very large scale, multi-year engagements through consulting, training, and other resources.
Absolutely. And that's fantastic. And great example for a shameless plug. Our guest on Friday is Wendy Covey. Wendy Covey and I are doing a webinar at Purdue. We book a lot of webinars at IMEC, the Illinois MEP, at Purdue, which is Parkdale University. So as Jessica just described, there's an MEP in all 50 states. Whatever state you're coming from, you're like, hey, wait a minute, I want to know about this MEP. There is an MEP right near you. And so we're going to keep this party rolling to dig in further. And Jessica, I love that. Stop being the best kept secret. Because Jessica, do you know the name of my mom's favorite book by any chance? You know the name of my mom's favorite book? I have a copy right here. My mom's favorite book, Damon, let's show it. Stop being the best kept secret. So my mom's favorite son, of course, it was her only son, wrote this wonderful book. And so for a shameless plug, what's funny is I work with a lot of MEPs, and when I meet them for the first time, and Beth, we were talking about stalking each other did I say stalking? I meant checking each other out on LinkedIn. And so a lot of folks, when I meet them for the first time, they're like, man, Curt, we need to have our director read your book because we are the best kept secret. And that's our goal, is we want to help manufacturers realize that this is not a secret. This is a really powerful resource, a tool for manufacturers and entrepreneurs. A lot of time you feel like you're alone out there. You're in the trenches. Man, you are not alone. My friend Beth, let's get you into the party. Why manufacturing? You are just crushing it, helping manufacturers. You've been at the MEP for over a year now, but just talk about, like, Frank was a great role model for you. You just bring a tremendous amount of skill and passion into manufacturers. But as a young person, what led you into manufacturing?
Oh, this is good, Jess. Actually, Jessica did.
All right, there you go.
Curt, I've been in sales in one form or another, basically since I finished college. And, I was with Pepsi for over 10 years, and, I was just kind of looking for something a little different. I spent some time in the mortgage industry, and was leaving that and just decided I really need something else. And I've known Jessica for a long time. We actually have known each other for years. She grew up on the Western Slope, and we've known each other a very, very long time. And she's like, hey, I know you're looking for a new job. You should come join our team. I think you'd be great. So it's Jessica's fault.
It's all about Jessica, right? Well,
it really is just Jessica's fault. So, but I am so appreciative that she thought of me, and because when I first got into it, Curt, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, as far as Pepsi goes, I know it's manufacturing. I've seen the plant before, but like I'm on the front line, right? I'm just out there selling. I don't really have anything to do with all of that. But so it's taken at least a year for sure to kind of get a grip on manufacturing. And really it's just, like as far as selling goes, and I hate to say that we're really selling, but it is kind of what we're doing. I mean, we sell consulting and we sell training, and that's just to grow and develop any manufacturer's business, and to provide them with anything that they need to help scale and grow and be successful and hit their goals. So,
right.
But it's been fantastic, and I love it. And the biggest thing that I love about it is really building the relationships with these manufacturers. I mean, they're in my backyard. So, here on the Western Slope, everybody's friends. You probably know them. You probably are at one of the breweries and they're sitting at the table next to you. You're drinking the same, really you get to know them. You get pretty tight with them, but really it's just about building those relationships, and then, really building some credibility with them, just showing up for them. And when they need something, get after it. We basically can give them anything that they need to help them grow their business.
I love that. And so, and to take it a step further, when you say selling, it's like you're selling efficiency, you're selling growth, you're selling hope, you're selling profitability, you're selling, just so much value that, you can only, as a small business owner or an entrepreneur, you can only be as good as your internal team. Like, you have to bring in outside sources, outside experts to help you elevate. Otherwise, you're just going to stay stale and stagnant. You've piqued my curiosity. Just share a little bit. You have great, Pepsi, one of the greatest companies on the planet. You have 10-year history there. How does that big corporate experience help, that small manufacturer, 10-person, 20-person shop? I just think that's just so valuable. Somebody with your experience to help out the small, guy or gal, right? Just share how that corporate experience has helped what that brings to the table for you with your clients.
I think the biggest thing, really, Curt, is just, coming from such a big corporation, but you can really, some of the customers that I called on and Pepsi, like I can, I was a Walmart key account manager, and then I was a C-store key account manager, and then I covered 3 states at one time. And so I have all of these different experiences with big stores, smaller stores, mom and pop shops. And so that's kind of my favorite, though, is the mom and pop shops. Because it's those relationships that you build with them. And the more that they get to know you, the more that they open up. And, and so I always share my experience, my work history with everybody, because they're kind of like, why should I trust you? Like,
right,
what do you have to offer me? Right. Really? I mean, and so I just, I'm very candid. I'm very transparent with all of my clients and the manufacturers here in Western Colorado. So they know my history, and I open up to them, and then they open up to me. And I really think that that's where the connect is for me.
Well, that's awesome. And I know, and guys, you absolutely want to check out Manufacturer's Edge website and check out the teammates. And Beth, I love you have positive, honest, and fun. Just what a great equation that is. Dana, my friend, let's get you on stage and let's just pull in. So you're also celebrating, I believe, a 1-year anniversary in Manufacturer's Edge. Just share a little bit about like your background. What attracted you to manufacturing, and why Manufacturer's Edge? What attracted you to the MEP?
Such a layered question, Curt.
Let's see. We're going to go deep, Dana.
Yeah, you're corrected. I am celebrating an anniversary, so that's fantastic, and it's nice to have been around that long. I feel like the MEP network is so vast, and we can do so much. And there's so many manufacturers in Colorado. We're at like 7,000 or something that fall in our main bucket that we look at. That I feel like I've really just started putting my toes in the water. So my background, gosh, I really come at everything from I'm a human, you're a human, we're all trying to do the best we can, and how can we find a way so that everybody succeeds? So everything that I've done in the long sales, key account management, business to business relationship, now a little bit of project management, realm of jobs that I've had across the board, from a small manufacturing company in Colorado doing life safety devices to, Fortune 100, Fortune 500 companies. I used to work for Covidian, which is now Medtronic. So big, giant company, also in manufacturing. Everything, I come at that from that. How do I help you? How do we empower you to succeed? And then how do we find that sweet spot where everybody is, being happy about it and developing that long-term relationship? So that's a bit of my background. Let's see, I tend to be that person that comes into a company and makes waves. So if I see something that's, hey, we could do this better. Hey, this client asked for this, and I don't know where to go for it. How do we find the right resource? I'm the person that brings that to the top and makes things a little bit more streamlined. So that's right up Manufacturer's Edge alley, and what we were predominantly known for with Lean and 5S and Six Sigma and all of those operational type things. And what really drew me to it is I did a bit in mortgage as well, which was a fantastic experience, working in 9 different states there. So yeah, very large breadth of options in terms of where my background comes from. But what led me to Manufacturer's Edge is somebody that worked with our company previously reached out to me and said, hey, I think you'd be a great fit. So it was kind of an internal recruitment type thing. I had no idea about the MEPs, didn't know what they could do. The more I dug into it, I was like, wow, this seems really cool. You mean I can help people with anything? And, it's not just that data and technology, it's not just operations, it's not just people, it's not just success planning, which are the 4 pillars that we put everything under, but it's also increasing that network around Colorado. So we launched something last year called the Colorado Manufacturing Network. And it was a great way to get people to start, connecting. And how do I access those wonderful partnerships that MEP Colorado Manufacturer's Edge has, World Trade Center, OEdit, all these different folks. So it was really jumping into a different area of manufacturing where I got to see so much more, be exposed to so much more. and then be able to help clients because of that.
Wow. Okay. That was just so, Damon. Well, I told you this was going to be a great episode today. So, guys, if you're just joining us, happy Monday. Drop a note. Let us know that you're here. You absolutely want to connect with our friends at Manufacturer's Edge. Beth, Dana, our friend Jessica. Jessica, I'm sliding over to you, celebrating 10 years at Manufacturer's Edge. Now, you have an incredible, amazing website. And Dana, I think you just hit it, your tagline, empowering manufacturers to reach their full potential. Drop the mic. What a great tagline. Jessica, talk about like your 10-year journey. What attracted you to Manufacturer's Edge? And what have you seen over this 10-year, a decade, for goodness gracious? What have you seen over the past 10 years?
Well, and funnily enough, Curt, my experience with Manufacturer's Edge technically even goes back even further, because many years ago in the late 90s, when I was finishing my undergrad at Colorado Mesa on the Western Slope, I served as an intern for what was then called MAMTech. So the state of Colorado we didn't have our own MEP center. We were actually a branch from the MEP center that was based out of Kansas. And so they actually had an office space there on the community college campus for what is now Colorado Mesa University. And so I served as an intern for them. So I started sort of getting to know the manufacturing landscape and ecosystem here in the state of Colorado when I was an undergrad. And what's interesting is I come almost exclusively from an arts background. So I was actually a theater major in college. I've helped friends start up their own theater companies. I've done a lot of theater-based or fine and performing arts marketing in the past. But what I always found fascinating about manufacturers, and still to this day I'm constantly inspired, is that they are very similar to artists, right? So in the same way that a playwright or a sculptor is so driven to bring something into the world that's going to make life better for other people, that's exactly what manufacturers are doing. They see a gap, they see a need, and they want to create something, bring it into existence to help people's lives become easier, better, more fulfilled. So to me, that sort of parallel passion is really exciting, and it's inspiring. It's what keeps me going. I love that, for example, like part of my job is writing success stories. So I love looking at the data to see how we help people, and that's of course how we're measured. How many jobs did we help create? Did we help you increase your revenue? But the anecdotal part of it is what really keeps me going. So when I get introduced to a manufacturer that we've worked with, and I can call them up and say, tell me your life story, like what you do, Curt, right? Like, tell me who you are, what drives you, what was it like working with us, and what kind of results did you see? It's just so cool to get to know folks better and really see what drives them, what their obstacles are, what their dreams are, where they hope to go. And knowing that we play even some small part in helping them achieve those goals that's why we do what we do.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. Now, Beth, my friend, I understand. I think you need to cut out on us in a couple minutes. So I have that correct? Are you sneaking out on? Now you can, blow off that next meeting. I'm just
yeah.
Well, I was just checking to make sure everybody's still on time, so I'll stay as long as I can.
So I'm just teasing. But if you feel free to cut out anytime that you need to. But before you sneak out, I would love to please share women in manufacturing. Why? Just you're talking to a younger self, maybe a young person in college, they're kind of looking at a career, and they didn't, like manufacturing, that's not on my radar whatsoever. PepsiCo, Manufacturer's Edge, like you've really lived a great career, and you have a long way to go. Talk about why women should be considering manufacturing for a career choice.
Because they're definitely a minority. I mean, like the women that I work with in manufacturing there's very few. I can say that. So there's a lot of opportunity there. I would say there's a lot of opportunity for grants. There's a lot of opportunity for recognition, and to kind of have a spotlight on you, really. I'm thinking of one specifically here in Grand Junction. I don't think I can say their name. I don't know, but it is a woman-owned business, and she just does an outstanding job. She's younger than I am, But she grew up doing this, and I don't know how much we can actually say, but you know, she's so it's hard not to, because I'd love to brag about her, but she's just an incredible person, and she has this amazing team of about 40 employees, and which are all men, and they all just think the world of her. So, and she's just this little bitty, this short, she has long blonde hair. She's very feminine. She goes walking through her warehouse, and like, they're all just like, oh yeah. Like, I mean, they all like on call to attention. So, but it's, you know, she's very good at what she does. She's smart. She went to school in her field, and which again, she was a minority, being a woman in that area that she works in. So yeah. So I think it's great, and I think she has a lot of influence, and a lot of younger ladies in the area too. She's trying to start something in Western Colorado to build more awareness for women to be in manufacturing. So
absolutely love it. And speaking of women in manufacturing, Damon, we've got a few people I want to give a shout out. So we've got, you know, best explanation of the MEP I've heard to date. Hope you don't mind if I steal it, Jessica. So how about that? We've got Dan Byer, our dear friend. So she's with TAC. If you guys are familiar with TAC, she's in the Mid-Atlantic TAC. So, and hey, how about Whitney? Whitney's a great manufacturer down in Houston, Texas. So guys, happy Monday again. Drop us a note. Let us know that you're out there. You absolutely want to connect with Beth, with Dana, with Jessica here on LinkedIn, or wherever you hang out on social. Check out their website, Manufacturer's Edge. Dana, can I slide over to you? Beth, are you leaving us, or are you going to stick around for a few?
I'm going to stay for a few minutes. My meeting hasn't started yet.
Cool.
All right.
It's a lot more fun over here, Beth. So, Dana, how about I'm going to slide over to you. What attracted you to the MEP, as far as like, or more importantly, what are things that you would share to a younger self, or say you're talking to a group of young people in college, high school? Why are all the cool kids going into manufacturing these days?
Well, the cool kids are in manufacturing, and we need more cool kids. So just like you said, yes, absolutely. I think what I would probably say to my younger self, or to kids, you know, in college or trade schools even, or anything like that, is I think there's a common misunderstanding of manufacturing. It's like, oh, it's the big automakers. Oh, it's, you know, this dirty, grimy equipment. And it's not. It's really taking something and turning it into something else that classifies as manufacturing. So we work with folks all the way from craft brewers to aerospace. I've got bakers and bakeries in there. Got people making some really cool biomedical science type equipment. And that's something that when I see manufacturing, I think about manufacturing. That's not what I would think of. I think, oh, that's medical. Oh, that's food services, you know, but all of that qualifies. So having a broader viewpoint of what manufacturing is, as being a part of this for the last year, I think is something that I would probably share with folks.
Absolutely. Okay, great. All right, man. Are you feeling the heat or what? And Whitney dropped in. So I know, as a matter of fact, women in manufacturing, I believe, Jessica, you guys have a strong chapter in Colorado. I know a couple of folks in your chapter. So, you know, a lot of excitement there. Jessica, let me slide over to you. So I'm going to hit you with two questions real quick. So I'd love, you know, let's carry on this women in manufacturing from your perspective. And then I want to talk about the Manufacturer's Edge team. I want to hit that with you. You're the veteran on stage today, but start with, you know, why manufacturing for young, if you're talking to a group of young folks, high school, why are the cool kids, why do they need to consider manufacturing?
Oh, absolutely. And I actually put this into practice, Curt, because I have two high schoolers who are still, you know, they're trying to figure out what they want to be when they grow up. But you know, another thing that's really baked into what it is that we do is trying to raise awareness for manufacturing just in general, right? So, I mean, Dana and Beth both touched on this, like trying to dispel the 4D myths, right? Dumb, dirty, dangerous, and on a downturn. And that's
oh man,
wait a minute.
4Ds, you gotta write it down. Oh no.
Yeah. I have not heard that.
You've never heard that? I cannot take credit for it. That came from Paul Harder. He was the owner of Aquahot, a manufacturer here in Northern Colorado. So he taught me that when I first came on board, and it's become like my mantra, right? So it's not dumb, it's not dirty, it's not dangerous, and it's not on a downturn, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And strangely enough, once again, going back to my arts background, like when a kid says, hey, I'm going to major in theater like I did, and my parents were like, are you sure you're going to make any money? But kids who want to go into manufacturing actually get a similar response from their parents. So they have to say, look, no, it's no longer this horrifying, situation where I might lose a finger. Right now, it's like, I'm going to go in and program some freaking robots and send stuff to Mars. I mean, it's absolutely fascinating. And the amount of money that you can make in manufacturing with or without a 4-year degree. I mean, it's part of what makes me so passionate about my job is to be able to say, there are other routes. When I was growing up, people were like, well, you either have to be a doctor or a lawyer, right? And now it's like, no, you can do anything. And like Beth was saying, some of our women in manufacturing in the state of Colorado, I adore them. We have a manufacturer who I can talk about who's based out of Golden, Kelly Perkins, who owns Spinster Sisters. She started making soap in her house. Eventually, it took over her entire house. Her husband said, please find a facility, get this soap out of my house. And so not only is she making a huge name for herself as a woman in manufacturing, she's making a huge name for the state of Colorado, and she's making enormous strides in sustainability. So everything that she does, she's able to leave her stamp on it and do it in her own unique way and say, you know what, I'm doing it this way because I'm a woman and I'm in Colorado, and that's how we do things here. It's really cool to be a part of that.
Hear me roar, man. And I want to build a comment up here from Karen. She says they are artists. That was from earlier. And so, all right, man, Jessica, let's keep this going, man. You guys are on fire. You guys, your CEO, Glenn, I'm buddies with Rob. Rob comes from Illinois. He was with IMEC, the Illinois MEP, now bringing his superpowers out to Colorado. Jessica, you been there for a long time. Damon, we've interviewed a couple other folks. I know some of your alumni that have worked for you guys. We actually had a manufacturer from Colorado, a woman manufacturer, Tax, back in November was on the show. Jessica, let's talk about your team. So we've got Beth, we've got Dana here today. We've got Rob, Glenn. Talk about the other folks. Jennifer, you guys really have an all-star crew. Talk about the other folks on your team.
We have an amazing team. We're about 13 strong right now. We've gone through a lot of changes in the last few years, as a lot of people have, I think partly in response to COVID and then sort of just trying to get our feet under us and that sort of thing. So our CEO, yes, Glenn Plagans, he came to us from OEdit, and he had previously overseen all of the small business development centers for the state of Colorado. So he has extensive experience in the business world in the state of Colorado. But previously, he was actually he owned his own business in Michigan, putting hitches on cars, on vehicles, and so he knows firsthand what it takes to run a business. So that's very cool to have somebody at the helm who can get down in the weeds and be like, I've been there, I know what I'm talking about because I've been in your shoes. Our COO is an absolute force of nature. Her name is Jennifer Hagendier, and she actually resides in Tennessee. And so she has run the MEP Center in Tennessee. She then worked for the entire MEP network. So she has a really interesting perspective on how the entire country works and how, like trends that people are seeing in manufacturing across the whole country. And then when we brought on Rob Newbold about a year ago, he was able to then leverage his experience, as you mentioned, from the Illinois MEP. But it was funny, for a long time, we were almost a majority women. So there was a time where we were like, okay, well, we have a couple positions we need to fill. And we looked around the table and we're like, in order to be a more of a diverse team, we have to hire men.
We need some dudes in the room, right?
Yeah.
That's hysterical.
Like, how unusual. And so now we do have a sales team of 3, so 2 women, 1 man. And then our folks behind the scenes that a lot of people don't get to meet, they're absolutely top notch. We've got a quality engineer who is an unsung hero of the team, who really keeps us moving, connects us to the resources that we need. She can walk into a facility and know exactly where those areas of improvement are, because she has seen firsthand how things can go wrong and how to prevent them. We have a project manager who's been working with our team for over a decade now, and she can right off the top of your head tell you every company we've ever worked with, what projects we did with them, and what kind of results they saw. She can also tell you if they've paid their bills yet or not. It's all locked in. We have an amazing team, both front of house and back.
Absolutely love it. All right, Jessica, man, you are oh my gosh. What was your line earlier? If I was any better, I'd be I need a twin.
Yeah,
Whatever your line was, man. All right. So
Yep.
all right, I need to hang out with Jessica. Beth, Beth, you blew off that other meeting. Just hang out with us, right? I'm just
no, they haven't joined my meeting yet, so I'm just holding out.
let's pull you
All right.
in. So Beth, now 13 people at Manufacturer's Edge. If I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong. PepsiCo, you guys had more than 13 people, did you not at Pepsi? Right.
Just a few more than 13.
Little bit of adjustment going from Pepsi to 13 folks. But
Yeah.
one thing that you have on your profile on Manufacturer's Edge, you love taking tours. I'd like to dig into, you walk into there's a manufacturer out there listening to this. They're like, man, we're having a good time hanging out with these three at Manufacturer's Edge. I'd like to learn more. Walk us through, you calling a manufacturer for the first time. How does that engagement, how do you bring your superpowers to help that manufacturer? And let's go there for a minute. So manufacturers out there, they want to engage with the MEP. Walk us through, how does that process work?
Yeah, Curt. So usually, like if it's a cold call, typically I'll set up a meeting. But I also do cold calls just because I kind of like it.
It's in your blood, right? It's in your DNA.
I have manufacturer. I'm like, oh, that looks good, and they're right there, so I may as well. Stop.
Yeah.
Because I do a lot of driving, just to put that out there in Western Colorado. So I'll go in if I have an appointment set, sit down, have a conversation with the owner or director of operations, whoever it is that I'm meeting with, and then I kind of just listen and get to know about their business, ask a lot of questions, and then typically I'm like right into the tour. I'm like, hey, do you have time for a tour? Or usually they'll offer because they want to show off what they have, right?
Yeah.
They want to show it off after they hear kind of what we do and how we're around to help. They get a little bit more interested, and then it's kind of like, oh, let me just kind of want to show off a little bit, show you what I have. Right. And so then and if they don't, then I usually ask, hey, you have time for a tour, and tour the facility. And then typically from there, we do what's called a BHA. It's a business health assessment. And what that does is develop a baseline for us. It's a survey monkey. It is, 42 questions, and they'll typically send that out. We ask them to, whether it's the owner, director of operations or management team, whoever is kind of on that end of the business, then we have them take that survey monkey. And then, so they do the survey, they do the business health assessment, and once they've completed that, we come back around, we do kind of a conversation with them. We've been calling it a readout, and then we turned it into something else. Really what it is a discovery conversation to find out where, like some of these questions that we ask them on the survey is just really diving in deep to more of what they need in their business. And it's, it covers, help me out, Dana and Jessica, it covers, HR, and it covers operations, and it covers customers, and it covers sales, and it covers, different pieces of the organization. So we, and they kind of get graded on it. And we bring our team in with their team and have this roundtable conversation about, hey, looks like you may need some help on these items, and kind of go for those top 3 priorities. And usually it's not much of a surprise to the organization. They usually, know, hey, that we kind of knew that we probably needed a little bit of help in that area. And that's where we start. So really it's just it's this process that we follow. It's not always that smooth, but typically, if things go well, that's kind of how we do things. And then we go back to our team after that conversation, and decide kind of together collectively, like which outside consultants or trainers do we want to bring in to help them. And then we introduce them. I like to call myself a matchmaker. Like I'm, matching a good OC with the manufacturer, and we meet usually via Zoom. And then if they like them and everybody feels good about it, then we move forward and we present them with a project. So
Absolutely love it. And what I'm hearing is like, you come in like you're another set of eyes and just kind of looking for those blind spots or gaps. And so that, whether the manufacturer sees it or, if it's a blind spot, obviously they don't see that gap. But then other times they can raise their hand and just say, hey, man, I'm really struggling with supply chain. I'm struggling with hiring, retention, everything that's been going on through COVID, or maybe marketing or whatever it might look like. So Dana, let's slide over to you. You cover a different portion of the state in the wonderful state of Colorado. Just your superpowers, your process. You walk into a manufacturer, just walk us through like how your engagement works and like how you help Colorado be a better state for manufacturing.
Yeah, a lot of it's going to be pretty similar to Bev's. I think we have a pretty similar account management style and interacting with people style. But I usually reach out to people and say, hey, I'd love to learn more about your business. If they come in through the website, then that's already done. And we move forward to a Zoom call or an in-person meeting. Helping people across the great state of Colorado. Like Beth, if I'm out somewhere and I see a really cool looking tech park and there's a bunch of folks that I know we've worked with before, or maybe we haven't worked with, I'll stop by and introduce myself. And it might be 5 minutes of, hey, here's me, here's a quick brochure about who we are, love to set up a meeting. But really the process for me, what's really neat about it is that we're tailoring our process for everybody. So I get questions all the time about, hey, can I have a menu of your service offerings? It's like, I could not even put that on a book for you. Yeah. There's so many.
Right.
And it really is tailoring it to the custom needs of the organization. And that means that we need to get to know the organization, the challenges, the successes, the struggles, the hurdles, where they're looking to go 5 years from now. And then helping them find the easiest, most efficient and effective way to get there, making the most bang for their buck. And as Beth mentioned, we have that business health assessment that we can do, but we also have a slew of other assessments. So we have one for, workforce is a huge thing right now. Supply chain is a huge thing right now. We have separate assessments for those. So if somebody comes and says, I really need help with hiring the correct people, from writing that job posting to making sure my culture of my company is the same as I hire and onboard people, or the legality of it or whatever, we can help with that. We can go straight to a workforce assessment. We don't have to go with this huge, deep dive, but we have the capability to do that. And that deep dive that Beth mentioned, I think of it a lot as shining the light in the dark corners that either you haven't looked at in a while, or you didn't realize were even there because you've been so busy wearing so many different hats as your company grew and scaled. So I think that's a nice thing, is we can find the customized, the tailored answers for them. And, we really go at their pace. I've got people I've been working with for the whole time I've been here, and we haven't done more with them than keep in touch and know what's going on, because they're waiting for the right time. They're gearing something up. But when that time comes, like, I'm prepared. I have the background. I know where they're going. I know what they've been through. So it's that long-term relationship is my specialty, as well as, what else was I going to say? Oh, that we're measured on our impact and our revenue. So that's a really fantastic thing in my mind, because I come from business background, big business, small business, all of it's business, right? It's show me the money and how quickly can we move and all that. But we're evaluated on a survey that comes out from our overarching Department of Commerce and NIST at the end of anything that we do. So we truly are focused on what's the impact that we provided to your business? How did we help move the needle for you? What revenue did you actually get as a result of working with us? And sometimes that's simply from having that business health assessment conversation. Sometimes it's from the assessment results. Sometimes it's a networking connection. And sometimes it's a big, long, multi-year project that helps them, fill the gaps as they scaled.
Okay. All right, man. Dana, that was like you rehearsed it. That was phenomenal. So, hey, how about a little round of applause for that answer? That was juicy. Now, I don't want to keep you guys. I know we're coming to time. Jessica, we're going to start winding down here. Sure. So let's talk collaboration. You mentioned collaboration earlier. Glenn, CEO, amazing job background at SBDC. And as a matter of fact, Dana, I noticed on your profile, you love, one thing that you love about joining Manufacturer's Edge is a collaboration with SBDCs, EDC, different environments. So I'm throwing all these acronyms and people are like, hey, wait a minute, Curt, I don't know what you're talking about. Jessica, could you please talk a little bit about when a manufacturer engages with an MEP, such as Manufacturer's Edge, talk about like these collaboration partners. And I'd love for you to also explain, before we went live, you guys just tripled your deep bench of subject matter experts.
At
Let's
least.
go there, because, you know, if somebody's like, hey, wait a minute, you have 13 people on your team, but you have a really, really wide web. Let's go. So talk collaboration partners and your third-party resources, and that's deep bench that you've really done a great job of building.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll try to cover all of that as much as I can, but if I go off track, just rein me back in. So yes,
you run with the ball. We hand it off. You just run with it.
okay, perfect. So yeah, to your point, what we try to tell our clients is challenge us. Bring us a problem that we can't solve, because I can pretty much guarantee you that we can find at least one resource who can address whatever issues you're having. Because like you said, I mean, we can help them with marketing. We can help them. In fact, this is right up your alley, but one of the foremost e-commerce experts in the entire MEP national network system across the entire country is a gentleman based out of Hawaii. So I keep telling them to send me to Hawaii so I can talk to him more about his e-commerce services. And so far, they haven't taken me up on that offer, but it still stands. But yeah, we can help people with virtually any problem that they bring to us. And so in order to do that, you know, we have some internal expertise and some internal delivery resources who can go out and help with certain things. But for a long time, we were just known as the lean people. We did a lot of lean, a lot of 5S, did a lot of training grants. And these days, the messaging is more like, we don't care what it is. If you're a manufacturer and you want another set of eyes, or like Dana said, you're wearing a lot of hats, let us take some of those hats from you. Let us be an extension, hence the name, extension partnership. We want to be an extension of your team that you don't have to vet and hire and put on benefits, right? We're going to come in and help you out with whatever way we possibly can. So just plug and play us, right? So we have also expanded our bench of outside consultants. So we used to have, a handful, dozen or so people that we would call on reliably. And actually, since Rob Newbold joined the team, he and our quality person, Karen, have been working diligently to expand that bench. And I want to say we have expanded it, fivefold or something. We now have over 50 people that are thoroughly vetted and on contract, and that we are actively doing work with in everything from strategy, like actual strategic planning, to succession planning, to e-commerce, to marketing, to operations, everything that you can possibly imagine. Now, pivoting a little bit into what you're talking about with the partnership, one thing we're really proud of, and I think Beth mentioned this a little bit ago, we launched the Colorado Manufacturing Network back in November, and we're just starting to, kind of get some steam under that. But what we're trying to do with the Colorado Manufacturing Network is actually formalize an ecosystem where we can bring all of the partners to the table that have anything to do with assisting the manufacturing community of the state of Colorado. So we've got Manufacturer's Edge. We have a very close relationship with the World Trade Center of Denver, so they come along with us in that partnership, of course. We're working closely with OEdit. We're working very closely with our trade association at CAMA, the EDCC, which does economic development for the entire state. So those are basically the founding partners. And then what we've discovered is that a partnership is all very well and good, but you have to have a platform on which it resides. Otherwise, it just becomes a bunch of Zoom meetings where you go, we'll talk to you next time. Let's catch a beer. Okay, good luck with that. Sure, let's collaborate. But the platform that the Colorado Manufacturing Network resides on is called Sustainment. And so what Sustainment is that it's a mapping tool so that we're helping to connect the supply chain. But as you're looking at that mapping tool and you're seeing who makes what in your own backyard so you can connect with them, you also have an entire resource library where you can see the resource cards for your economic development folks, for your Manufacturer's Edge. We're adding all the time things like financial resources. Do you need a low interest loan? Do you need to find out more about grants that are available through the state, through the country? Who can help you out? We see all the time manufacturers who say, I wish I had known about you 10 years ago. I wish I had known about the SBDC 10 years ago. I wish I had taken advantage of these grants that I didn't know existed. So what we're trying to do is there's no wrong entry point, right? You come to the Colorado Manufacturing Network, whatever you need is there. And if you go, it's overwhelming, I don't know where to start, come to us. We will meet with you and we'll tell you where to start. Even if that's not with us, we don't care. We're just here to help manufacturers. Whether we make any money out of the deal or not is absolutely of no consequence to us, because like Dana said, we're measured on impact and we're measured on making sure that our manufacturing community is strong and thriving. That's it.
Boom.
Thank you.
Boom.
Also, we're a little passionate about that, about all of that.
Yeah.
I don't pick up on that at all.
Yeah, it's so funny. It's so funny. I hear you talking. I just like it's great to hear. It's great to hear because
now, Jessica, were you like a football coach in a previous?
yeah, you guys are out there doing it. You can just tell
right now. So this is
it's awesome. It's awesome.
So, I want to be mindful of time, and I like
yeah. So
like,
good.
I don't know if I told somebody, maybe Jaron. I'm like, dude, it's gonna be a really fast. Did that Dana? Did that just fly by or what? So, and
Totally
even Whitney's like, hey, Jessica, drop the mic right there, right?
Just coming all
like,
at us.
That was like, Jessica, what we call moments of silence. Like when just somebody just really drops the mic right there, we just need to take a moment just to savor what you just shared. So, all right, let's do this. I want to be mindful of everybody's time. We're going to start winding down. So, Dana, last question for you of the day. Just share any words of wisdom, any parting thoughts that you want to share as far as manufacturers out there on why they should connect with their MEP.
Wow, parting thoughts.
Put her on.
Yeah, I think, what's the harm? What's the worst that happens is we have a 20-minute, 30-minute conversation. You get to know some cool people on our team. We get to know some wonderful folks on your team, and you have a network to work from down the road. I know Jess mentioned we have the 50 bench that is a huge increase from what we had before, but we've also got this national network of, I think at last count, it was 1,400 plus experts, and everything we do is a train and do mentality. So a lot of the questions I get at the beginning there are a lot of consulting companies out there. There are a lot of people that are looking to make something happen. And I've had clients go so far as to say, okay, so before we go further, I want to know, like, you're not going to ask me for an arm and a leg at the end of this and I'm going to be hung out to dry. It's like, no, we're invested. We do a 30, 60, 90-day follow-up on anything. And we usually come in and help from a train and do mentality. So it's that like teach a man to fish, not give a man a fish.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, the company is better overall.
Great job, Dana.
Yeah.
It's like for 10 years, Jessica. So Dana, just amazing. Marcy's very proud of you. So thank you for just sharing your brilliance, your passion, your expertise. Jessica, take us home, my friend. Any parting thoughts, words of wisdom? Manufacturers out there are like, man, I like Jessica, you've got me ready to run through a wall. Any parting words of wisdom that you would share with that manufacturer out there?
Yes, but I'm going to have to share the mic evidently with my dog who won't stop barking. So I apologize. But like Dana said, what do you have to lose? What we need to do is shine a light on manufacturing. And what we have right now is a once in a generation opportunity where suddenly, thanks to COVID, people are talking about things like supply chain around the dinner table. People are starting to be aware of somebody makes toilet paper and I get it if there's a shortage. People are suddenly aware of manufacturing in a way that they haven't been for decades. When I first took this job 10 years ago, I have a relative, and I won't say who was like, why would you work in manufacturing? Manufacturing in the United States is dead. Well, guess what? It's not, friend. It's not. And this is our moment. This is the time. We've got to strike while the iron is hot. So come to us and let us help. That's all we're trying to do. Like Dana said, we're not like your average consulting company. I once met a potential client who, before we even got started, he said, what kind of car did you drive here? And I was like, friend, I have a mom van, okay? That's not what we're doing here. Like, we're not looking to pad our wallets. We're not looking to buy that second houseboat, right? Like, this is something we do because we want to make a difference, and we want to make sure that we're doing good and we're doing what is right for the manufacturing community. We're building a strong base, not only for our manufacturers, but for ourselves, so that we can go to the store and buy toilet paper. So that's, this is our moment. We believe in manufacturing, and we're here to help however we possibly can.
we're just
oh, that is so awesome.
We're just praying. All right, guys, I want to be mindful of everybody's time for calls that are coming up at the bottom of the hour. First off, if you've been with us and you've been sitting, I invite everybody out there. Why don't you give a stand, kind of stretch, give a big standing ovation for Dana, for Beth, who had to sneak off on us, and my dear friend Jessica. Thank you, each of you, for all that you do, what you do for manufacturers. Manufacturers are the backbone of our economy. Jessica, you just summed it up so great, so elegantly. Man, you guys, you come back anytime, because I know we could geek out and we have tons more that we could have covered today. So I'm going to wind down on this. Go out and how about, thank or hug or just give a high five to your local manufacturer. Thank them for what they're doing for our economy. If you are a manufacturer, boy, reach out to your MEP. You just get a little sliver here of the passion, the energy, the resources, the opportunities to help elevate your company by aligning and partnering with your local MEP. Damon, any words of wisdom that you want to leave our folks with today?
No, I mean, awesome getting to talk with you guys today. That's the thing. It's so great. And it's so great to listen to the MEPs, like you Manufacturing Edge there in Colorado and others, because manufacturers, like you said, are out there grinding it out, working really hard, making just cool stuff. And they don't really know these resources are available. And it's so nice to be able to have you on and share that for Colorado manufacturers in your case, but in manufacturers across the United States. And then to see you guys as women being in manufacturing, it used to be a lot different and it wasn't necessarily good that way. Really, really inspiring. So
absolutely. And how about this? Part 2, geek out session part 2. I am
good.
Thank you, Karen. I appreciate
awesome.
That. So we'll close out again. We learned the 4 Ds: dumb,
4 Ds,
dangerous, and downturn. And then Jessica, you even said the word dead. So that was like the 5th. Those are a myth. Those days are behind us. Manufacturing is alive and well. Yeah. And manufacturers, all the cool kids are going into manufacturing. So guys, have an amazing, incredible, just a wonderful, splendid, marvelous week. God bless you out there. And Jessica, Dana, hang out with us 1 second. And Damon, we've got Carol Thomas here next Monday. We've got Wendy Covey on Friday. Man, we're just going to keep the momentum going. So, all right, guys, have a great day, and we'll see you soon.
See ya.
Thank you.